Well, I think that there's two axes on which this happens. The first is that games are an art form, and they're one of the oldest art forms. And games can make you cry, and games can make you laugh, and games can evince every single aesthetic response that any other form of art can evince in the human soul. So on that basis alone, they're worthy, and having them in the collection makes sense. Of course, games can also teach. The core mechanic of game is really Skinnerian. It's a conditioning system, and they can teach good things or bad things that way. And among the things they teach is teamwork. My wife, who's a games commissioner in the UK, says that games are a very good complement to education because they teach that collaboration isn't cheating and that failure is okay, which are two lessons that are very much missing from an extremely results-driven educational system that discourages intellectual exploration in favor of getting a very good transcript so that you can get into a good university, and also so that you can score high on a standardized test. So all of that is, of course, educational as well. But I also think that it's important to look at the best research we have on how young people use networks, which is the MacArthur Project, the digital youth project that came out of USC, Mimi Ito's lab. One of the things that she strongly concludes in the most ambitious study ever undertaken into the way young people use networks is that the traditional distinction drawn between playing on the network and doing work on the network is absolutely artificial, and that the mechanism by which young people gain their legendary technological fluency, the reason that young people are not daunted by the network and run circles around their elders on the network is because they play on it. And playing on it is the thing that gives them what the Germans call fingertip feel. You know, it gives them a sense that goes beneath the conscious understanding of how the network works and becomes subconscious, it becomes instinctual. And without play, you never get that instinct. Without play, you're always the hunter and pecker. And so I think that to the extent that librarians want to keep everyone, give everyone that potential to be technologically fluent in the way that our most exciting young people are, that you need to make play part of the library's access to information. And I think that every librarian must understand this in his or her heart, because we've all had an experience. I used to work in libraries. We've all had the experience of undirected random walks through the collection. Right? That looks good. And then, oh, look at this. And I never looked in this section, and I'm going to Google this or look up this in the catalog and do an interlibrary loan of that for no other reason than that's where your intellectual curiosity is taking you. And we all know that doing that turns you into someone who's an expert in the library, an expert at library, an expert at finding any piece of information in the library, contextualizing it and linking it with other pieces of information. And that without one, if all you do, we've all seen patrons like this. They show up at the counter and they say, I need to know about pari-mutuel betting and horse racing. And you go and you find them in their book and they go, thank you very much, and they leave. That person may know something about pari-mutuel horse racing. They know nothing about accessing information, contextualizing it, or doing all the stuff that someone who comes in the library a lot and really understands how to kind of go through subject indices and cross-reference and do random shelf walks and so on can really extract maximum value out of our collections.